We'll pretend like everything's fine now. You can't see my fire. It was supposed to be a fireside chat. Oh my gosh. Okay, so welcome to episode 104 of the This Old Knit podcast. Weird hair. I'm your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine, on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest. And you can find show notes maybe for this episode and previous episodes of the podcast on the corresponding numbered thread of our Ravelry group. So welcome to all new viewers and welcome back for returning viewers. I'm coming to you from my living room in front of the pellet stove because it's cold and because I didn't really feel like setting up, and most of my stuff was in the living room anyway, so I just kind of threw it all around me. And so we're podcasting from the floor, and you know, whatever. You can see we've sort of put things that we don't know what to do with yet from our unpacking onto these shelves. So there's like tea tins that are all empty, a couple books, this set of canisters that we took out of the kitchen because they're taking up a lot of space, but I may give them away, I don't know. So just ignore my background to whatever extent you're able, and yeah, we will share some knitting. So this week, the Forest Pig Mitten Cow wrapped up on the 22nd. I completely failed at this cow. I have not finished either mitten, and that's okay. But what I think I'm going to do is, we didn't have a ton of participants on my thread. I think there were a little bit more on Kristen's thread. And I think I have enough giveaway codes to just give everyone who knit a mitten a free pattern from Erica Mountain. So, not Mountain. I shouldn't clear my throat after saying someone's name. So that's what I'm going to do. So I will, for anyone who hasn't won, which I believe Avehement Mittens already won one of the giveaway codes, so I will go through and parcel those out for the remaining participants. And thank you all for jumping on board. So hopefully you can find something you like in Erica's Ravelry store. Okay, and then we are heading into a new cow. Hang on. So anyway, yeah, so mitten cow done. We have a new cow that's going to be starting as of today, I believe, or maybe this weekend. I really should look that up. Anyway, I'm co-hosting it with Anna Lena, who is Anna Knitter on Ravelry, and I believe on Instagram too, she's Anna Knitter, and she has the Anna Knitter podcast. So she's going to have the chatter thread, and I will have the FO thread, and it's the Advent along. So we had this last year as well, where we co-hosted, and it goes all the way through the 26th of December. She and I were chatting this morning, and we agreed that the 26th was probably better. That way, in case if you have a gift and you don't want to post a picture of it before you gift it, then you have sufficient time to come the day after Christmas and post your FO pictures into the FO thread, and then I'll lock it on the 27th, the morning of the 27th, whenever I wake up. So yeah, it's going to be anything that's knit in traditional Christmas colors, which I'm going to be fairly loose with that, but I would say probably, you know, reds, greens, whites, golds, blues. Those are what I would consider to be traditional colors. And then it could be a Christmas themed item or a Christmas named pattern. Or something that's about the season, or like ornaments, decorations, that kind of stuff. So we had a lot of fun with this last year, and we got to, you know, incorporate it into our Vlogmas because we both do Vlogmas, and then we exchange Advent packages. So I've sent her mine, and I think hers is on the way to me as well. So just mini skeins every day, and then some gifts in there as well, and a gift for Christmas. So we will be opening those up and, you know, vlogmasing. So as part of that, we have our cow. So I think what we'll do is probably have the hashtag Advent Along 2018, because last year was Advent Along 2017, and please come and join and partake of it. So I already have some prizes lined up that I can do, and I will probably do some pattern gifts as well. And then I don't know what Anna has on her side. She usually does pattern prizes just because you don't have to deal with shipping. And international shipping, you guys, oh my God, it's insane. I shipped my package to Anna, and it was not even very heavy. It was like over $50 just for the shipping. It was ridiculous. I've never had it cost that much. So come on, US Postal Service. Uncool. So I'm knitting coffee today. I'm drinking coffee today out of my Boston Starbucks You're Here mug. I really don't like the new You're Here mug style. I prefer the older style. Kind of bummed that they changed them out, but that's fine. I got a ton of them. So there's enough to fill my entire cabinet, and so I need to stop. I don't need any more mugs, but still, they were prettier. So I don't even know what to start with. I guess I will start with whips, because I have just piles around me. So this side is kind of the Ghost of Needles present, as I'm calling it. So things that I am going to be casting on in the very near future, as well as some acquisitions that came in. And this side is all whips. So let's start with whips, and we'll work our way across. I'm going to start with this one because I want to put it on me because it's cold. My feet are cold. So one of the things I've been doing is, as it gets colder, I pull out my 10-stitch blanket, which was the start of my podcast. I was working on this, and I'm still working on this, and that's okay because I can use it. It has a little needle in it, but I can still use it. So it is my 10-stitch blanket. For those of you just joining me who did not go back 104 episodes to look at my first episode, I don't blame you. I live in the present. This is the 10-stitch blanket by Frankie Brown. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I'm knitting it out of Cascade Eco Duo. I got this for free in a stash dive with my mom's knitting group. It is all natural colors. I believe this is the zebra colorway. It looks like this, and it just has, you know, interesting patterning. It's got a fuzzball because I was wearing my red sweater yesterday while I was knitting it. But it looks really cool with the 10-stitch blanket pattern because it gets these weird little cubes of the different natural colors, and I really love it. So I've been knitting on this for 3 years now. It's worsted weight, and I'm using a size 7, I think it's a 7, clover bamboo needle. So I knit it with DPNs because you're only ever knitting 10 stitches at a time. So you just knit these strips around and you're attaching them as you go, and when you're done you just bind off, and that's it. Usually I think you go to a corner and you knit half a mitered square corner, or actually you would just join it all the way to the corner and just stop. So I have the rest of the ball that I'm working on, and then I have one more hank of yarn, and then that's all that I have. I'm debating on whether or not I will buy more. Because it's natural colors, it wouldn't really matter if I bought more. I think it would just blend in really well, but this is the throw that I use on the couch with the kids. It is very warm because it's a 50-50 alpaca wool blend. It's not superwash, but I always intended it to be a couch throw and just be a cozy thing you can pull down and put over you while you're knitting and snuggling on the couch. So now that I've showed that, I can have it on my lap. Yay! for extra warmth. And my hair is slowly drying with the wonderful blower from the pellet stove. We love our pellet stove so much. It has been keeping the house really cozy. Our electric bill is really low. It's way lower than it was in Reynoldsburg. Now, keep in mind, we had a geothermal system, so we were heating our house entirely with electric. And in the really cold months, the auxiliary would kick on, which was like an electric heater that had a heating element, and that was more expensive to run. And we had a very, very drafty house. But our house here is more modern. It was built in the mid-80s. It's very well insulated, and of course, because it's Connecticut, you know, they insulate their homes very well. So we've found that if we just run the pellet stove, our furnace doesn't kick on very frequently, so we're really just running it at night, which is good because right now it has heating oil. I want to replace it, but hey guys, one thing at a time. I would like to put in another geothermal system, maybe in a year or so, because they are quite pricey up front to put in. There are some incentives, you know, through the state, and I don't know if the federal one is still there or not, but there was like an incentive through the federal government as well to do them. So we hope to do that, and we also hope to put some solar panels. This house could probably have solar panels on it because it has multiple angles on the roof. Or we have enough yard that we could, you know, put them out. Long-term goals, next couple of years. Okay, so as far as other blanket, I have been knitting away on some Hexie Puffs for the Harry Potter Blanket Cow, which is being co-hosted by Shauna from the Adelaide Cottage podcast and Jilly from the Knitting Broomstick podcast. And it is a year-long knit-along. They have quarterly check-ins, and the idea is just to knit with Harry Potter themed yarns or knit a Harry Potter themed blanket. I decided this could be the kick in the pants for me to do additional work on my beekeeper's quilt because I really love that and I would like to make more progress on it. Again, I've been knitting that since 2012, so it is a long-term labor of love, but you know, I can attach Hexie Puffs as I go. It's already useful as a little blanket for Joshua, and it only gets more cozy and awesome. So I'm currently working on a mini that I received from Shank and Bradley Knits on Instagram and Ravelry, and this one is Birdie Bots. So it's got, you know, all the different fun neons for Birdie Bots every flavored bean. I've got, I think, almost half a Hexie Puff here. So for those not familiar, it is the Beekeeper's Quilt pattern by Tiny Owl Knits. A lot of people were knitting it many, many years ago. It's kind of fallen out of favor, but I really love it. I will always love knitting Hexie Puffs, and, you know, I'll probably be knitting them until the day I die, so, you know, I better love them. So it is little hexagons that you knit, and you can stuff them or keep them flat. I am stuffing mine. I stuff the crap out of them so that my quilt is going to be like a puff quilt, and it's already fabulous, but I do not have it close to me, so I cannot show it to you. I think I will probably attach most of these soon because I have enough that I can start attaching another strip. So I kind of try to attach across just to increase the length of it at this point. Pulling them out. I think I've shown some of these on the podcast previously, so I won't go through all of them. I will just pull them out so I can show you how many I've done. And I will use this as my own time stamper of, you know, hey, I've made this much progress on X date, because I need that for the check-in. They just keep coming. They're hiding in here too because they sort of feel like a mini skein, but not. So I have a little bag full of minis. I keep my I'm doing mine on size 4 needles. Those are ones that I have specifically for this blanket. So I have 2 Addie sock rockets. Oh boy, this is gonna be really hard to show. I'm dropping them everywhere. Ah! Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10 is the one I showed you. So once I finish the 10th one, I will attach these. Maybe I'll attach them 10 at a time so I can keep track. And then I'm gonna take a picture and like circle, you know, on it so that when the progress shot time comes, I'll be able to show all the ones I've attached that are Harry Potter themed. Hexie Puffs are really hard to show. No wonder people stop knitting them. They're terrible for podcasting. All right, so that's my second whip. This is gonna get really crazy, guys. All right, my third whip. I didn't do very much on this, but there was one day this week where I couldn't sleep and I felt like I needed to get a move on with completing my Christmas mittens from last year because I want to cast on the new pattern from Ellie, who is Skandir on Ravelry and Instagram, and she just put out her Winter Mystery mitten. I have that in my pile of Ghost of Needles present, along with the yarn I'm going to use. But I would like to finish at least one more pair of mittens that I have on the needles before I cast on a new pair, because I want to complete my year-long mid-along entry, which is to knit five pairs of colorwork mittens over the course of the year. I've already got 4 done. I just need one more pair to complete my set, and I have a lot of single mittens almost done. This one is only the first mitten, and I don't know why these things are taking me forever. Probably because they're super dense and they're fingering weight. So this is the EULA mittens. She released this last year around Christmas time. So you can see it is a deer with antlers, and he's got a little heart there. It's got a lacy cuff. This is doubled and folded, and the palm has like the Selbu. Is that the Selbu star? I don't know. I kind of think of it as like a poinsettia motif. I'm almost done with the hand portion. I'm finally past the deer, which sort of made it take a long time. So I was really moving with these the other day when I was, you know, working on them in the morning. They're a little snug in the thumb hole, but I think part of that has to do with the waist yarn I have it on. I think I have it tied kind of tight, so I think once I've actually taken that off there and picked up for the thumb stitches, I'll be fine. Plus blocking. Blocking does a lot. So I am using Tuku wool fingering in the Uyo colorway, which is a very deliciously beautiful mauve color. And my contrast color is Rowan Fine Tweed in a cranberry color with some fun little tweedy flecks. I got a lot of this from my LYS in Ohio before I moved. They were getting rid of all of it, but it's really great for color work. It's just 100% wool, and I've got a light blue, a charcoal, a dark blue, and gray, I think. They had enough charcoal to make a sweater, and I kind of wanted it, but I didn't do it. But it was like $6 a ball, so very reasonable. So that's my EULA mitten. Like I said, I'm only on the first one, so these are probably not the ones that I'm going to complete in order to cast on that other mitten. Whew, I'm starting to get toasty on my back now. A little too close to the fire, Nina. Okay, let's keep with the mittens, shall we? So in my Fun Chasing Acorns geeky bag, I have my other set of mittens, and these are also by Ellie. And these are the Avehement Mittens. They are from her Selbu Mitten Club number 2, which is her current mitten club that's going on right now. We've gotten 4 designs, I think. Let's see, Evia, Marit. Yeah, 3 or 4 have been released already. So I think we have one more. So I'll bring it closer for you. This is unblocked, so it's a little bit wackadoo. It'll block out really nicely though. So I used some leftovers of the Tahoe. Oh, I don't remember what the company is for that. But the base is called Tahoe, and it's a DK, 100% wool non-superwash, and this is just the white. I got it from Tuesday morning in the discount bin. And then the other one is called Bermuda Colors, I think. And I'm again forgetting the name of it. Universal Yarns. I don't know. I'll look at my show notes from last week or 2 weeks ago when I was showing it with my mom. But the colorway is Bermuda. And again, it's like an ombre. It's Bermuda ombre. That's what it is. So it's an ombre dyed yarn, and it's got, sea blues and greens. And I think it just works really nicely with that white. So here's the palm. It continues that same motif that's over here, but a little bit more spread out. I can't wait to block these because I think they're going to be so pretty. I cast on for the second mitten the other day because I felt like, I want to have a pair done so that I can, like I said, enter into that FO thread. So this is how far I got on the second one. I think I cast this on Wednesday, maybe. So I'm pretty far. This is like my favorite stitch marker. It doesn't want to stay forward, from Little Bitty Delights. I just think this is like her masterpiece of cake. I love it. So yeah, I should be done with these pretty quickly, but I've become obsessed with another project, like you do. So right now I am not knitting on them, but I will finish them. That's maybe a day's worth of knitting. It's really not bad at all. So I'm very happy with my progress. See? Just got the top of the mitten to knit and the thumb, which thumbs are really quick. And then I need to start on the colorwork mittens for my mom and my sister, who both want them for Christmas. So gotta get those done quickly, and I don't even know what pattern I'm going to use for both of them. But those were the Avehement Mittens by Ellie Puski here. And yeah, okay. I also participated in the test knit for the Sparkling Cider Hat by Kristen Lear, who's Woolen Vine on Ravelry and Instagram, and she also hosts the Woolen Vine podcast. So she so graciously let me test knit this pattern for her, and it's amazing. I'm not done, but there were many testers that did complete their hats, so she went ahead and released the pattern ahead of Black Friday. She had a coupon code, and then for those who participated in the Lost Reindeer Club, I believe you got the pattern for free, which I, of course, did participate in the Lost Reindeer Club because Kristen's here. So she offered me yarn sport because I didn't have any mohair in my stash, and I had never tried her ghost lace before. Oh my gosh, you guys need to try her ghost lace because it's so soft. It's so amazing. So I said, hey, could I do it in like a more solid tonal color, like Weep? And she was like, oh my gosh, yes, please do it in Weep. And apparently Emily, who's Slow Fashion Rebel, loved that idea, and so she copied my hat, and then Kristen saw her completed hat and also wants to copy it, so we're gonna be triplets. It's not twinsies if there's 3 of us. We're gonna be Sparkling Cider Weep triplets. This is my first ever beaded project as well. So I got beads from the Earth Fair Beads website, which Kristen recommended, and they were really great. They were fast service, and they're really pretty beads. So yeah, it's earthfair.com. So fair is spelled F-A-I-R-E, and these are 6/0 beads. And the colorway that I got is Noir crystalline. So they're these. I just thought those would be really beautiful with a gray, and I was totally right. At least I think so. And then I realized after I got my beads that the crochet hook that I thought would fit the beads did not. So what do? You go and panic buy a whole set of crochet hooks, because the only ones at Michael's, which is closer to me than Joann's now, that contained a small enough hook, it was a set of like 5 tiny hooks. Whatever, fine. It was $11 for 5 of them. So now I have 5 tiny crochet hooks. What am I going to do with these? I don't know. So here's my crochet hook. Look at that. Teeny. This is a US 10 1.15 millimeter crochet hook to be able to bead. And it uses the technique of, you know, taking the loop that would be for knitting your stitch into, putting it onto your crochet hook, and then pulling that through the bead, putting it back on your needle, and then knitting it. So that's what I'm doing. It does work. It's a little bit fiddly, I'm not gonna lie. But it's okay. Like, they're not that frequent, and it's beautiful. It's totally worth the fiddliness because this pattern is amazing. Let me come closer now. So there is my lovely bejeweled hat, and this is gonna be like my fancy hat for wearing with my nice wool coat when I dress up. And it's this beautiful tonal gray, and those little pops of beads just make it, they really take it up a notch. I think it makes it look so dressy and elegant. So it's supposed to be like little stylized cabled trees, and then the little bead is on the top of the tree. Do you see it? Do you see it? I see it. And then look at this fuzz. Oh my God, the halo. Oh, it's so squishy, and it's very, very warm. So it's thinner. I used a size 3 for my brim, and I actually knit an additional inch from what the pattern called for. So I think it called for 2 inches of ribbing. I did 3 because I like to have enough that it completely covers all the way down to the bottom of my ear, and I want to make it a little bit slouchy, so I'm going to work an extra pattern repeat, which the pattern walks you through all of that. It gives you options, and yeah. And of course I needed a little Christmas marker, so it's another Little Bitty Delights. This is my peppermint mocha. It's so cute. Megwin loves all my tiny charms. She always asks to see which charm that I have on my current work. So there it is on. Oh, it's so warm. Whenever I put it on, I don't want to take it off. So there you go. So you can see like it's gonna come down all the way on my forehead, have enough so that you can still see the pattern, and like I said, I'm gonna do that little bit of extra so I'll have a nice little bit of slouch in the back. So I think this is almost through 2 repeats of the chart. So I'm gonna do a 3rd and then do the crown decreases, and I think it'll be really nice. And guys, I pulled out all my Christmas bags. I keep them in the container where we keep our Christmas wrapping paper. Although I don't use wrapping paper that frequently anymore, I still have some because there was a bunch of like this paper, this brown paper wrapping that had gnomes on it, and you know, I was hooked from World Market. So I bought a bunch of it, and I've actually used it for other things like covering boxes that are going to be decorative boxes, and I have wrapped some gifts in it as well, but that's what's in this Rubbermaid container. And I also keep all my Christmas project bags in there. So this is one I think I sewed last year. but it might have been 2 years ago at this point. So it has this fun like paint splatter, white and red inside, and then all these little animals with adorable Santa hats on, and these trees with different designs, and I used the polka dot fabric solid to match on the bottom. And then I have a key skein on it as a zipper pull from Amanda of No Makers. I forget which colorway that this was, but I thought it was so festive, so I just put it on here as a zipper pull. So that's the Sparkling Cider Hat by Kristen Woods-Vollenvine. It is now available on Ravelry for purchase. Go and get it, guys, because it is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And thank you, Kristen, for letting me test knit. I'm gonna have the best hat ever. And can we talk about my sweater? Because I don't think I've worn it on the podcast, but this is my So Faded in all of the peaches. Was my Rhinebeck sweater, and it is so comfortable. I'm so glad that I knit it with the extra cuff length, so the cuffs actually come up onto my hand a little bit, and that's really nice and cozy, and I love it. I want to knit a million So Fadeds, but there's not enough hours in the day. I also want to knit other sweaters. That's the problem. And this is a little Notion pouch I got from David's Tea a couple years ago, maybe last year or the year before. And it's just holding, like I said, my beads, my crochet hook, a little pair of scissors, and some stitch markers. I got this fire, you guys. Whew, toasty. So, sparkling cider. Wow, we're 28 minutes in, and I still have more whips to show you. Let's do this one. So speaking of the cold and my cold feet, I have realized that our floors are very cold in this house because we have a fully finished basement downstairs, but it does not have heat. It doesn't have like a heating position. It has an electric heater in the bathroom, which is also the laundry room, so there's like a utility space. If you watched my house walkthrough vlog before we brought all of our furniture in, it has like a laundry on one side, a full bath on the other side, so it's got a tub, shower, and toilet and vanity. There's an electric heater in there, and then the main space is open, and there's one side room which they had built as a media room, the previous owners, so it's all wired for that. But as I've said before, we don't have a TV in the traditional sense. We have a very small TV VCR combo that we do have set up down there on a table for the kids to watch movies. So they have their beanbag chairs, and they cuddle up under blankets and watch movies together down there. But all like DVDs that we have, we don't have cable. And so a media room is sort of lost on us. So it's actually a storage room right now. So we've set up all of our shelving, and we have a lot of Rubbermaid tubs with, you know, like we'll put our winter blankets down there. We have all of our brewing equipment down there because for many years we brewed mead and beer. We had stopped that for a little while, but we may start up again. And like my material is down there, my fabric, I mean, for sewing. Our Christmas decorations are all in there, and then the main space is for the kids. So in the main space there's a wood stove, but if we don't have a fire going in the wood stove, floors are freezing on the main floor. So I always have a pair of socks on, but that is insufficient now that it has started to be true cold wintry temperatures outside. So slippers are what we're called for. And as part of the Blamed Under Knit Along, because I've started watching the Knitting Vicariously podcast, I just cast on. I had been waiting. I'd been going, no, after I finish my mittens, after I finish X sweater, whatever. But I have cold feet and I need them now. So I cast on. I'm making thrummed slippers. I'm using the pattern by the Cozy Knitter, which I think is just called Thrummed Slippers. Do I have it over here? I don't know if I brought it over here or not. Yes, Thrummed Slippers by, it says A Baby's Smile Knits, but it's the Cozy Knitter. So if you look for Thrummed Slippers on Ravelry, you can get this pattern. It is super cheap. It is really great. It is one page, so very basic instructions. That's part of the reason I'm folding them up right now, because I don't want to show you the pattern, secret sauce, but it is called Thrummed Slippers. Go find them by the Cozy Knitter, who is Christina. They are knit in Aran weight wool yarn. You need 160 yards of Aran weight or worsted weight yarn, and you need about 50 grams of roving. So I had in my stash of spinning fiber this beautiful roving that I had purchased multiple years ago at this point, probably 2009 maybe. I believe it is a BFL Masham combo, but I'm really not sure because it's not labeled at this point. I think it costs. Okay, now I know if I have a camera error, that means that it didn't save my file at all. Let's start again. Okay, so I got this at one of the local farm stands at Wool Gathering. I believe it was Full Circle Farm. I think this is a BFL Masham combo. Don't really know. Looking at the staple length for how long it has to be before I can pull the fibers apart, it has to be a long wool. It absolutely has to be. So this is what I would do, and then I would draft this apart to make about 10 to 12 thrums. Some of them I've been able to get a little more or less depending on the density of that portion of the roving. But I am almost done with the slipper one. So this is going up to the top of my foot, and then this is going along the side. So I just need to go until it gets to the back of my heel, and then yeah, I'll be done. And I actually have some of those Fiber Trends bottoms. I think they're faux leather, but anyway, you can sew them on and it will help it not wear through. So I'm gonna do that for these slippers. I had them in my stash for a long time. I don't even know what I got them for. I was making a bunch of felted slippers one year for everyone in Josh's family. That was insane. I don't know why I did that. I think that was the year that broke me for knitting hand knitted gifts for everyone in his family, because he has a big family. I don't do that anymore. But anyway, I'm using some Briar Rose fibers that my mom gifted me a few years ago from her stash. She got a lot of it in a clearance bin at a Briar Rose Fibers booth at maybe the Greencastle show that she goes to in Indiana, or it could have been the Great Lakes Fiber Festival. I'm not sure. She goes to a couple that I have never been to, but she gave me this color, another kind of red and gray, and then a various greens, like forest greens, and then one that's what I think of as traditional camo colors, and those I used to knit a pair of mittens that are outer mittens for my husband Josh's mitten glove system. So he puts those on over top of his gloves when it's really cold, like if he's going out to shovel snow or to go for his walks outside. But then he can take them off and he still has his knitted gloves underneath for finger dexterity, and he doesn't have to have exposed skin. So yeah, Briar Rose Fibers, random unnamed BFL combo thrums, and these are the Thrummed Slippers by the Cozy Knitter. It's a really cheap pattern on Ravelry, like $2 and something. It's a very affordable and totally worth it. I'm gonna make a pair for Megwin as well once I've completed these, because they're amazing. And she wants a pair. That is that. I have them just in a little bucket thing from, what is that company called? It's like 21 or something. 31 bags. Somebody sent this to me, and it's got a like little rigid top and a nice little handle and this little mesh pocket, but I thought it would be perfect because I didn't want to smash these at all. I want to keep them really floofy until they're ready to be on my feet, so they're not in a project bag. But that usually just sits on my desk collecting random things that I don't want to get up and put away, so I throw them in there to contain them. Like if I have a little tin of stitch markers or my lotions, that kind of thing. Alright, I'm almost done with the whips, you guys. Almost done. The next one that I've been working on is my husband sweater, which is the Gramps cardigan by Tin Can Knits. I have gotten a little bit further. I am almost through the first ball of yarn. Look at that. Almost done. Only 10 more to go. So here it is. This is on a 60-inch cable right now. Note that it is a little bit wadded up on a 60-inch cable. And this is not down over Josh's shoulders yet. It's like to right here. So I have more knitting to do and more increasing to do, because then it has to go down and around his arms as well. So it's going to be huge mungus, and that's okay because I love him and I will do it. So I've now switched out all of my stitch markers for the wonderful ones that I bought at Rhinebeck. So they're all the ones I showed from that Katrinkles pack. You can really see the nice blue. It's a beautiful navy blue, solid color. This is Barocco Vintage. It is from my Aunt Lynn's stash. So definitely stash, and I've had the Gramps pattern for a while, so shelf as well. It's just a raglan pullover with a shawl collar. So right now I'm just doing all those fun raglan increases. I also added the Blueberry Shortcake Progress Keeper that I discussed on the last podcast. So that is a Gilmore Girls themed stitch marker from Little Bitty Delights, and it came with a really fun sock set from the Yarn at Home Mom. I haven't cast on with that yarn yet, but it's really pretty yarn too. And it's just from a scene between Suki and Jackson in the Gilmore Girls, and it's really funny and super cute, and they are like my favorite couple in that show. I love them. They're very sweet, and I like that they bicker back and forth, but it's part of like their fun romantic thing. So yeah, so Blueberry Shortcake marker, and this is the Gramps cardigan. Here, just so you get an idea of size. That's where I'm at. Like, I would already be probably separating for the sleeves if this were for me, because I can cross it over myself even, so it would already be too big in the front. Yep, so I've been trying to work on that. I did bring it to, I had a lunch for one of the people on my team is leaving, so her last day was Wednesday, so we went to lunch together, and I brought that with me to work on because it's pretty basic at this point. It's really straightforward and easy to work on because I know the pattern, I know the raglan increase rate. So yeah, I just kind of worked on that and just while I was chatting and hanging out with people. And then last but not least, it's my little cabin. Yay! Which is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter, and it is an all-over bobbled pullover with a garter stitch yoke. It's bottom up. I've never actually knit a bottom up sweater, so this is my very first one. It's going really well. So I tried this on, and I joked with my friends that I looked like a knitted Dalek. I was like, exterminate. and it definitely has negative ease, but I think that's okay because it's 50-50 alpaca merino, so it's probably going to get a little drapey as I wear it, and it's unblocked right now, so I need to you know, wash it and block it. But from what I recall from my gauge swatch, it does, you know, loosen up some. And I do like to actually have some negative ease with my sweaters anyway, because yeah, if you wear them for multiple times before you wash them, they're going to be stretched out a little bit. And I like to just wear them over top of a t-shirt or a camisole, so I don't have to wash them quite as frequently. So there you go. This is actually up to my bust at this point. It has the nice length that I want. So yeah, I'm just gonna go to the part that's up over my bust, and then I will separate for the sleeves. And then I think this one you knit the sleeves, obviously, and then join everything together to work the yoke. I may use a modification that I saw where you knit the sleeves with fewer bobbles. So instead of every 3 rows, you do every 5 rows and bobble. So I probably am going to do that modification. The ones I saw, you couldn't really tell, but it does save you some yarn because the bobbles are yarn pigs. And on this one, I have a Know Me Progress Keeper from Simply Serving. And then I have this beautiful set of stitch markers that Kristen gave me as a birthday gift. I think last year. They are from One Geek to Craft Them All. So this is the beginning of round marker. So it has, you know, sparkly beads and a little cloud. And then the other ones are just the sparkly beady ball thing. Yeah. So this one only requires 2 markers, one on each side seam. And I think right now they're not really useful, but once you get to where you join the sleeves, that's how you're lining up the sleeves to put them on. So yeah, I am knitting this out of Blue Sky Alpaca Surrey Merino. It's the yarn I've had in my stash for a very, very long time. At this point, I love it. It's super, super soft, and this is a natural gray color. And so far, I think I've only used 1 ball. Yeah, up to here was 1 ball. So I've just joined my second ball of yarn in. No, this is 2 balls. So the first one went up to here, the second one to here, and then I'm on the 3rd one now. And I think I have 7 skeins. I definitely had enough yardage wise for what the pattern called for. So I'm not worried at all. Yeah, I've got 3 or 5 in here, so that makes sense. Yep. Okay, so that's Little Cabin by Caitlin Hunter, and it's in a Harry Potter bag that I sewed for myself with some newsprint from Fantastic Beasts, and then there's just, you know, generic Harry Potter fabric. And this is what's on the inside lining as well. And I use very stiff interfacing for this, so it sits up. Okay, whew. Move away from the fire a little more. I feel like my back is starting to roast. So moving on to acquisitions and Ghosts of Needles present. Last week I went through a whole thing and it got cut off because I had a camera error. So this week I will show you what I talked about last week. I finally figured out what pattern I'm going to use for my Cormo that I bought at Rhinebeck. I'm going to knit this one, the Noel Pullover by Olga Putano, who is Handmade Closet on Ravelry, and she named this after her daughter. So the chocolate brown will be the body of the sweater, and then I will use that beautiful cream undyed for the contrast. and I think that's going to be so cozy and nice. And then I think that that same pattern is also on the cuffs. Yeah, here's a better picture so you can see the cuffs. Yeah, so it has that same motif on the cuffs of the sweater, and it just has this nice little set of eyelets right on the boat neck. I'm super excited for that one, so I definitely want to cast that on. And that will be another entry into the Blamed Underknit Along, which is also responsible for that thrum slipper cast on. So thank you. I started watching the Knitting Vicariously podcast, and I ripped through all of the episodes. You definitely should go check it out. It's hilarious. So yeah. So I will cast that on. I have 2 weeks off in December because I'm trying to use all of my time off. So I'm going to have a lot of time to do Vlogmas and Christmassy things and crazy cast-ons, and that's what I'm going to do. And the next one I have planned is the new, this year's Christmas Mystery Mitten from Skein-Deer. It's the EULA MCAL by Skein-Deer Knits. It calls for a main color and contrast color, and then a second contrast color just for the cuff. So similar to her Christmas mittens last year, and she gives you a couple of cuff options for the motif, so you can pick. But I waited because I wanted to see what the main, the next clue was going to be to decide which one I wanted to use. So my colors that I'm going to do are, oh yeah, the octopus mittens bit it. I ripped them out. After I was trying to convince myself for how much I wanted them, I knew that that wasn't going to work because I'm a process knitter, not necessarily a product knitter. So if I hate knitting the thing, I'm not going to finish it. I just won't. So I ripped it out. So these are the two colors that I showed last week that were the octopus mittens. They are, shoot. Why am I blanking on that? The Norwegian wool that Ellie talks about all the time. Oh my god, maybe it'll be in here as one of her suggested yarns. No, because she used Susan Crawford Excelana in this one. Good grief, Nina, your brain. Anyway, it'll come to me when I'm editing and I'll put it in there, so look below. So these are two colors that Kristen picked up for me at VKL last year, and I'm going to get to go to VKL, Vogue Knitting Live this year. But last year I still lived in Ohio, so I couldn't go. So she picked up these two for me. So this will be my main color, and this will be my contrast color, and then this is going to be my contrast color number 2. And this is some Jamieson and Shetland Spindrift. This is the color, one of the colors that I used for Joshua's Billy Goat Scruff mittens, the Bouc na Brousse. I think this was the main hand color, and then it had like the white as a contrast color. So I have enough left that, you know, I can use it with these, and I think that's really pretty. So the second color, like I said, is only used on the cuff. Yeah. I don't know why that is totally eluding me on the name. So those will be cast on very soon. And then I also figured out a pattern, which I didn't bring over, for the sweater that I was talking about when I was showing the yarns together when my mom was podcasting with me. It's from a Knit Scene magazine. Sorry, this is attached to something. Whoa. Oh, I have another whip over there. Crap. Oh my. Got a huge yarn tangle here. Oh my god, what is happening? So these 4 colors together, striping. This will be the one I'll probably use for the collar and the ribbing, because this skein is larger. So I think this one has like 500 and something yards in it, and then these other ones are more traditional, you know, 400 35-ish yards. This one's Malabrigo sock. This one is Vine Yarns. This is her Pumpkin Kombucha, which was a new color she came up with for this fall. This one is also Vine Yarns, Volca, and Harpsichord, which she can't dye this yellow anymore. The dye company doesn't make that yellow. And then this one is a yarn from my Aunt Lynn's stash. I don't know what base it is, but look at it. It's beautiful, and it has all of those colors kind of in it, but it has a chocolate brown base. This is very much not my Aunt Lynn's colors. I would never have thought of this for her to pick it up, but there it was in her stash. And those are just going to make the most gorgeous autumnal sweater. So the sweater that I'm looking at is in a knit seam, and it's essentially an all-over textured striped pullover with a little button placket right here. I think it's a faux placket, but it uses the solid color, or the color you will use for the collar also to go into that placket. So I just think it'll be really nice with these, and the stripes are already worked out for me. So yeah, that's the plan for those. And then, excuse me, Christmas sweaters for the children. Every year I try to knit them a new sweater for the winter, and I give it to them at Christmas time. Oh man, I need a drink of coffee. My throat is really dry. It's probably from sitting right next to the pellet stove. I usually do not sit this close to the pellet stove. So Joshua has requested a non-itchy bear sweater. To be fair, I did use West Yorkshire Spinners Air Valley DK, which is a non-superwash BFL British wool blend. It's not the softest, but he wore it last year and he had a turtleneck under it and he was fine. So I think he's just being a weirdo. But I do have some yarn in my stash that one cannot possibly call scratchy. I got it from my mom. Again, she was like destashing some stuff. I think she bought this as like a bunch of different things to make baby sweaters for Joshua, and that never happened. So she just gave it all to me in a big bag. So it is Crystal Palace Yarns Bunny Hop. And it is essentially, I believe, acrylic. It's 50% micro acrylic, 42% micro nylon. I'm not sure what the difference between micro acrylic and micro nylon are. Just, it's acrylic. 8% Angora. Thus why bunny hop. But you know what? It doesn't take very much Angora to make it have a little halo and make it be fluffy. So it is a nice yarn. It's very soft. I have this, and then I have a cream color. And I also have like a mint with blue flex, but I think I'm going to use that for just a solid pullover. So I will knit him another bear sweater. This will be the main color. The cream will be the pocket. That was a really, really easy pattern, and it is really cute. So this initially was knit up into the beginnings of a blanket for our friend Ed, who lives in Reno, for his first baby. His first baby is 3 now. This blanket is clearly not a blanket, and they're pregnant with their second child. I'm just gonna knit them a hat. Yeah. This blanket, I knit one just like this for our kids, but out of an organic cotton. And it is a really nice baby blanket pattern. It is a free pattern from the More Than One Way to Knit a Hat blog, knitting blogs. Do you remember those guys? I got into knitting before there was Ravelry, and it was all about the knitting blogs. So More Than One Way to Knit a Hat was one of the blogs that I frequented, and this is a free rippled baby blanket pattern. So it uses the feather and fan pattern. And basically it's a modification of the Feather and Fan Comfort Shawl. But I'm gonna frog it, and it will become a bear sweater for Joshua. And that will be his Christmas sweater. I think I have 5 or 6 skeins of that, and it didn't take a ton, because he's still a little guy. Okay, and then Megwin's, I'm gonna either do the Bloomsbury Kids or the Anemone pullover for her, and I'm gonna knit it out of Classic Elite Princess. Yeah, this has been discontinued for a while, hasn't it? It's been in my stash for a long time. This is a lavender color. Classic Elite even is going out of business now. But this is a beautiful yarn. It is so soft, and I have 5 skeins of it, so not enough to make a sweater for me unless I were to make a colorwork sweater, like with a different colored yoke, and I'm super tempted, but I also think this will be amazing on Megwin with her hair and her eyes. It's gonna be beautiful. So yeah, this is 40% merino, 28% viscose, 10% cashmere, 15% nylon, and 7% angora. So it has got that beautiful angora halo. It is really soft, and I just think with the lace on either one of those pullovers, it's gonna be stunning. So that will be her Christmas sweater, and maybe I'll finish Josh's sweater too. That's pretty ambitious, Nina. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't write checks your hands can't cash. And then for me, I have been wearing my Feather Nest pullover to death because it is so warm and cozy, and I love it. And as stated previously, my house is really cold. So I have wanted to knit for many and many a year the oatmeal pullover by Jane Richmond. I have the pattern, I have the yarn, I just need to cast it on, and I'm gonna do it because this is gonna be my wearing around the house pullover slash putting it on to be a little more fancy when I go out and about than wearing a bummy sweatshirt. The yarn I purchased is Knit Picks Full Circle Bulky. I bought this many, many years ago. Full Circle was an amazing yarn and line, and I wish they would bring it back. It was made all out of recycled mill ends of yarn, so it has a lot of depth to its colors because it's, you know, mixed together, so you have little ends of stuff. It is a single ply, but because it's just all wool, I found that it doesn't pill a ton. It is not like a merino by any means, so it's still pretty beefy and has good structure. This is their bulky version, and I believe this is in the Hollyhock colorway. Yes, Hollyhock. So it is blue and purple, but you can see the blues and pinks that are blended together to make that purple when you see it close up. A lot of people have this in stash, and some people are destashing it, and I want to buy all of it because it is great. But I have enough red to make another sweater probably, and I have enough of this to probably make 2 bulky pullovers because I bought it when it was on sale as they were discontinuing it. So that will be an oatmeal pullover by Jane Richmond. It is just a very basic, beautiful raglan knit on large needles. It'll probably be on 11s or 13s. I can't remember what it's swatched up at for me. But yeah, very excited about that. I want it. And I'm gonna make it have really long sleeves for extra coziness. Okay, so now we're into acquisitions, and I'm gonna go ahead and stop and record a new segment. Oh my god, you guys, I'm gonna have like scorched skin. Thank goodness I'm wearing wool. So let me finish my, no, I'll do acquisitions and then I'll do a little bit of sewing and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so Lost Reindeer Club. Oh my god, Kristen has completely outdone herself. It is amazing and beautiful, and I love it. And I got the Blitz base because Christmas and sparkles, and I love this base, and this is the only time I can get it. So if you are part of the Reindeer Club, and I think you should all have your yarn by now, but if for whatever reason you do not, look away, and I will tell you when you can look back. Okay? Look away now. So far we have received Donner, Dasher, Blitzen, and Vixen. They're amazing. So when I got them, the most recent one, I kind of had an idea for maybe a sweater, but I'm unsure yet, because I think it might actually be better if I did stripes of these interspersed with Weep, or is it Poe? What's the black one? Grim. I think they would be really beautiful interspersed with stripes of Grim throughout. And then just like striping these two with a solid. Or I originally was thinking like with this, which I believe this colorway is Enjoy the Silence. However, I also have 2 skeins of this, and I kind of want to get another skein of Ghost Lace in Weep and make a Birds of a Feather out of this. That was my original thought. I'll probably use the leftovers from my sparkling cider hat to start that, and then I'll buy another skein of Ghost Lace to finish it out if I don't have enough, which I probably won't. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I think these would be better with like a more solid, now that I'm looking at it, but I definitely think these two look really nice together. Kind of like this one with it too, but maybe that's too much. I don't know. I just know they're amazing, and I love them. Thank you, Kristen, for dyeing such beautiful yarn, and for the ideas that spring from your wonderful imagination for all of the pretties that we all get to enjoy. Anyway, all right, you can look back now. Okay. And then I mentioned last week that I had purchased the West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas color. Even though I'm not knitting socks, don't ask me to explain my crazy, because I don't even understand it. I live inside my head every day and I still don't understand me. This year they had fairy lights. So this is what it looks like knit up. It is a naturally self-patterning yarn. You had the choice of either this cayenne or chocolate mint. I opted for the chocolate mint because I have the last year's color that I also have not knit up yet, but I never managed to snag the contrast last year before it was gone. So now I can knit up both of them. So here's my fairy lights, and that's the chocolate mint. These are going to be really nice together. And this is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. I bought mine from the Woolly Thistle, who as always has amazing customer service. She's done pre-orders for these. I think she has some in the shop currently. Don't quote me on that. And she has a sale on Saturday for percentage off of various things. But you should just buy from her because she's awesome. And she also has a podcast. Based in New Hampshire, and it's all like wool that you can't readily get in the US. So she imports it all from the UK and Europe, and then yeah, you can use it and buy it without having to pay customs, which is nice. Or tariffs, because, you know, that's what we do now. Don't get me started. Yarn, pretty yarn. Let's think about pretty yarn. All right. And then I did buy one more pattern because it now became available separate from the book. So the Woods publication, I really loved it, and it was really pretty, but a super pricey book. And frankly, I didn't want to knit everything that was in there. But the sweater that was on the cover, I think, love it. And it's by Jennifer Steingass. It's the Windfell sweater. So now you can purchase the patterns individually, and as part of that release, they were like 20 or 25% off of the individual patterns. So I snapped this one up. I think this might become the blue I bought at Rhinebeck. So blue with maybe some, I could do white and then have the sparkly blue on the inside from Gabby. I don't know yet. I'm starting to run low on time too. Okay, 2 more things. Also from the Woolly Thistle, no, not from the Woolly Thistle. She does have them now, but she didn't have them in stock, and I was afraid she wasn't going to get them. So I did buy this from the Making Zine website. And they have their subscriptions open right now for next year. So I may subscribe because I do love their issues a lot. But this is the black and white issue of Making Magazine. It just came out at the end of October, and I was waiting for this issue. I love the cover, it's gorgeous. And this is more like a crafting magazine, not just knitting. Like, it has how to make these beautiful felt masks for kids. My kids would love those. So this one is all inspired by, I believe, Iceland. So it just has all things knit and sewed, woven in blacks and whites. And yeah, it's just stunning. It shows how to make a knotted Swedish oval rug. I've always wanted to know how to make rag rugs, so I was really excited about that. Like that. I remember like reading in Anne of Green Gables about Marilla's rag rugs, and that Anne wanted to have a bunch of them for her home, and I always wanted to have rag rugs. So now I can. And then there's this amazing shawl by Gudrun Johnston, the mosaic shawl. So pretty. There's a colorwork hat. A pretty cardigan. It's gonna time me out. And then a hat and mitten combo. And there's Tree Light, again by Jennifer Steingass. I love all of her things. This quill by Vera Valimaki. And the Forever Mittens by Carrie Bostick Hogue. That's the ones I was thinking of. Those are so pretty. And the photography is amazing in this publication. It's stunning. You feel like you're in the locations. It's just a treat, a total treat. I love just sitting with some coffee and going through this. Running out of space here. All right, last thing. When I went to Michael's and I mentioned that I got those crochet hooks, I also looked at the Patton's Croy socks. And of course they had new colors, and these seem to be the socks that hold up the best for my husband. So I did buy some more yarn to make socks for him. So they had this one called Route 66, and it's a self-striping. Really cool colors. Excited to see how that knits up. This one called Singin' the Blues Stripes, so similar to the blue striped rag, but it's all just different blues and grays. And then for me, I got these Patton's Croix FX socks in what are called cameo colors. So really pretty rose, gray, and some blue in there. So those, they kind of give a marled ombre effect when you knit up the Croix Socks FX. It's really pretty. So that was my final purchase. Like I said, the Patton's Croix is just a classic stash yarn for me. I love to have it in my stash for just whipping up good sturdy socks. And I am still knitting socks. I'm just doing them for the rest of the family, not for me. And I did work on a pair of socks for Josh, but I can't find the project bag. I think it may be in the car. But I am through the heel, and I'm actually working on the gusset for sock number 1 for him. So I'm hoping to get another pair or 2 done before the end of the year for him. So that is everything that I had to share with you, knitting related, sewing related very quickly. I am almost done with the Christmas pajamas for Megwin. This is the bodice of her nightgown. It is fully lined, it has lace and this fun little ruffle, and she picked Pokemon fabric. I completed the one for my friend's daughter, Gianna, and she already got them. She's going to wear them on the Polar Express train, and she was very, very excited. And they fit her perfectly, so that was wonderful to see. So all I have to do now is finish the hem on this skirt and gather it and sew it on, and then I will be done with Megwin's Christmas pajamas way ahead of Christmas. I feel so accomplished. And then Joshua's I'm going to cut out this weekend and hopefully get sewing on those. They should be pretty quick. The pants are like no time at all. The part that takes the longest, honestly, is drafting the pattern for him. So yeah, I need to get those going, and that is all I have to share with you guys this week. So start knitting some Advent stuff, enter into the Stash Your Shelf Challenge. Those are our 2 current knit-alongs that are going on, and I hope you have a safe and wonderful 2 weeks, and I will see you next time.